All right, music fans. It is I, Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there and just like me right here. The news about Glenn Tipton from Judas Priest is absolutely heartbreaking. Guitar player Glenn Tipton has been forced to retire from touring after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. This was announced today by Judas Priest. The news comes shortly after Priest announced a new album, Firepower, and corresponding North American tour for later this year. The lead single from that album is fantastic, up on YouTube if you're a Judas Priest fan or even mildly priestly. I think you'll dig the song. It's an amazing song considering how old these guys are. In the band's official announcement of the news, it was revealed that Andy Sneap will step in on guitar for Tipton. 10 years ago, Glenn was diagnosed to have the onset of the early stages of Parkinson's. From then until recently, Glenn has lived his life as the great heavy metal guitar player he has always been, maintaining by his own definition a standard of quality and performance that is incredibly important. Right now, Glenn is able to play and perform some of the Priest songs that are less challenging, but due to the nature of Parkinson's progression, he wants to let everyone know that he won't be touring as such. True to the metal spirit of the show must go on, Glenn has requested Andy Sneap to fly the flag on stage for him. I want everyone to know that it's vital that the Judas Priest tour go ahead and that I am not leaving the band. It's simply that my role has changed. I don't rule out the chance to go on stage as when I feel it's able to blast out some Priest. So it seems like he's still got his heavy metal senses. So at some point in the not too distant future, I'm really looking forward to seeing all of our wonderful metal maniacs once again. Rob, Richie, Ian, and Scott have this to say. We have been privileged to witness Glenn's determination and steadfast commitment over the years, showing his passion and self-belief through the writing, recording, and performing sessions with Priest. He is a true metal hero. We are not surprised by Glenn's insistence that we complete the Firepower tour, and thank Andy for joining us to make Glenn's wishes become real. As Glenn has said, we also can't wait to have him with us at any time, any place on the road. We love you, Glenn. Best wishes to Glenn Tipton, a true pioneer of the heavy metal genre. Again, this, on the opposite end of the spectrum, we heard about Neil Diamond a couple weeks ago, retiring from the road because of Parkinson's. Glenn is 70 years old, and this is just rough. It's just rough. Here's why it's extra rough, and I was thinking about this, is because the people grew up listening to this music. This music embodies a kind of youth and rebellion, and people aren't supposed to age. You know what I'm saying? People aren't supposed to get Parkinson's who are playing or even listening to heavy metal. For me, my Judas Priest experiences, really the album that got me into Judas Priest was Screaming for Vengeance. Some folks were into British Steel. I went backward into that. I think if I were on the island with some Judas Priest, it might actually be late 70s Priest, because I think they were so unique as far as what they were doing at that moment. And it's funny because people like Eddie Trunk talk about all the influence that certain groups had in the heavy metal genre, and Judas Priest was playing the kind of metal that would become more mainstream way before that. And Glenn Tipton was a guy who helped write a lot of those commercial-grade songs and gave the band a sheen when they needed a little bit more balance between their rebellious Rob Halford side and, their aspirations to be somewhat commercially successful. One final note to this, I bet the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame might be, having a little regret about not inducting this band These guys, they're just pioneers. They're just true pioneers to the genre, whether you like their style of music or not. Judas Priest, you know, if they shot a time capsule into space and put some heavy metal music into that time capsule, you'd want to have like some Black Sabbath and some Judas Priest and some Iron Maiden and things like that, okay? Because that is the definition of that genre, and Glenn Tipton right on the forefront of everything having to do with that. All right, that's enough on this video. Glenn, let's just pray for Glenn that he can perform and do some stuff for at least a while longer. This is a rough disease, and I hate even hearing that someone has it. I hated hearing that Neil Diamond has it, and Glenn Tipton, same deal. So I'll be back with more real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me, and we'll do it again real soon, and we'll talk to you then.